Coming to you live from the Business RadioX studio, it's Franchise Marketing Radio, brought to you by IDS, an award-winning digital marketing agency that delivers integrated marketing solutions for franchisors, franchisees, and franchise development teams. Learn why over 75 brands depend on IDS's team of dedicated marketers and client service professionals to deliver a strong ROI on their marketing investment. Go to idsfranchisemarketing.com for a complimentary digital audit and consultation.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Franchise Marketing Radio. I'm your host, Rob Ganley, and today I'm with Matt Piccinin. He's the co-founder of Shuckin Shack Restaurant Franchise. It's great to have you on the show today, Matt.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Hey, so tell me a little bit about your background. It sounds like a great place to hang out. Tell us a little bit about how either the brand started and a little bit about you.
So the brand started really kind of on a whim, really. So my business partner, Sean, we were living in Carolina Beach, and the town didn't really have a real seafood bar. So Sean had his eye on a 950 square foot location just up the street from his beach rental shop. And at that point, Carolina Beach only had about 4,000 year-round residents, and about 5 bars and restaurants that stayed open year-round. So you got to know the same people year in and year out. So we were talking one day, and I had just graduated from UNCW with a marketing degree, funny enough. And he said, "Hey, man, you want to open an oyster bar?" And I always had the idea of opening a bar. You know, what guy doesn't in their 20s? And so we signed a lease in May, and we opened in November. Never had any intentions of ever taking it to where we're at now. Franchising even was never a thought. Our thought was to get through the first couple of years and see what happened. And if it didn't work, we were young enough to, kind of figure out what our careers would do after that. So we opened in 2007, November 2007, and in 2008, our first full year, we did about $500,000, and we saw year-over-year growth after that, and we continued to grow. And so, like I said, we did 500 our first year, and that store last year in year 15 did just shy of $2 million. And so once we kind of saw that, we started to look for a second location. We looked in Surf City, where we actually have a current franchisee. We weren't able to get a lease done, so we came back downtown Wilmington, which is about 20 minutes from the beach, and found a spot here, which was about double the size, 1,800 square feet, had a hood upstairs, second-gen restaurant. So we're able to actually grow the menu to what the base of the menu is today, and that gave us the ability to kind of, again, grow the restaurant, get some market proof, and those kind of things. Again, we weren't really sure where we were taking it, and franchising wasn't on the top of our minds. But again, some more growth down there, more growth at the beach. Said, let's look at a third location, and we started looking Southport, which is about an hour drive south. You can get to it by ferry in about a 30-minute ferry run across the Cape Fear River. But at that point, somebody sat us down and said, "Hey, why don't you guys look at franchising compared to a third corporate unit?" So we sat down with a franchise developer and another buddy of ours who does restaurant equipment, and did about a 4-hour meeting, and came away with franchising was probably the way to go at that point. So instead of signing a lease and taking on that project while running these 2 locations, we decided to go ahead and get the franchise process rolling. And in 2014, we started to put all that together, get the FDD and all the documents and stuff like that going. And from there, hired a CEO in mid 2014 and kicked off sales. Yeah.
Wow. I love that story, because it's like, you're right out of college, and, maybe we should do this. And it's like, if guys like you don't step out and do those things, then all the folks that are taking advantage of it now, not only the customers, but the franchisees, right? The opportunity that you can give them the goodness of what you created in your head. You had to go through the pain of getting ramped up and making it, but now someone can just take it and run with it. So that's really cool, because, in that beginning stages of those ideas, it's always like, I don't know, we'll see how it goes, right? Now look at it.
Oh, yeah, we definitely had a lot of mistakes, figured out a lot of things, and by the second go around, build out took 3 months instead of 6 months the first time. And, just refine the process. And once you get there, I mean, it's always a great thing to be able to hand something over to somebody and let them run with it.
Yeah, yeah, and you could speak from your heart and say, "You got something here." It took me a while to get to this point, so enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's the heart of franchising, and the heart of America is small business, and that's really what it's all about. So it's pretty cool to hear that. I love that question because that's usually what comes from it when I get a chance to talk to a founder like you. Well, cool. So tell me a little bit about, tell me what's unique about your brand. I know obviously it's a concept that is about good food, fresh food, but I also thought I read that you guys really focus on domestic food. And so I know that that's unique and probably has a lot to do with the quality of food. But tell me a little bit about the challenges of that and how you've worked through that. And yeah, it sounds like it's pretty unique, but tell me more about that.
So I think the uniqueness of our brand is the way we feel is we don't have any true national competition. It's not Red Lobster. It's not Joe's Crab Shack. It's not, it's not what we've called the emotional crabs, the angry crabs, the boil in a bag stuff. It's your East Coast seafood dive. It's seafood in a bucket. It's, you get a pound of shrimp, you get a half pound of shrimp. Like that's it. Our menu started with a steamer and one fryer. And so we still, those are still the core items that we sell. And it's all about developing locals and having your bartenders really kind of, take on a life of their own. It's our food to alcohol ratio is 70-30 food to alcohol. So we sell a lot of alcohol. But we give our staff the ability to be themselves. We don't have a spiel. It's not welcome to Shuckin Shack. It's not I'm so-and-so, I'll be your server and all that. The stuff you see at every full service restaurant. It's hey, grab a seat wherever you want. We'll be right over. And we don't push our specials on you. Like we've got a chalkboard that shows all of our seafood. We've got, we do happy hour specials and stuff, but we don't come to the table and say, do you want to know what we have on special tonight? Blah, 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 blah. If they ask questions about it, great. But it's really taking it and making it your own restaurant. And especially for our franchisees, none of our stores are the same square footage. None of our stores are designed the same. None of our stores have the same decor. If you didn't know that Shuckin Shack was a franchise, if you went somewhere else, you wouldn't know that store is a franchise. You would think it's a one-off mom and pop. And that's kind of where I think the brand uniqueness for us comes in. And I think sometimes it works well for us, but I think sometimes it works against us when it comes to sales because people do want the systems are in place. And the running joke is I always like to call it the reverse mullet. So like the business is all in the back. It's all trimmed up here, but you got a big mop of hair up here that you can do whatever you want. So behind that bar and behind the kitchen wall, everything's made the same across the board. The recipes, everything's there. But the personality of the store is where the party's at, and you can make it what you want, and you can make it your own. And so it's here's how we cook, here's how we train, here's what we want you to know. The rest is up to you to make it your own space. And so that's kind of where the uniqueness is of it.
Yeah, you kind of, when you first shared your story, that kind of just resonates that your approach, right? Your personality, you and your partners, and it's kind of like you approached it that way, right? Like, what do we want this to be? It's about good food, about people coming together, having fun, but it's like you want the owner to embrace that, whatever that's going to be for him, so he can create that experience, right? As long as people feel like they're having a good time and eating good food, right?
Well, yeah, and you want the owners to be able to go in and say, this is my place. It's not, it's not like one of the big chains out there where here's an acre and a half, here's your plot of land, here's what you're building, this is what your decor is going to look like. So you give them a say. I mean, we're working on a store in Viera right now, going through permitting and stuff like that, but the franchisees wanted the biggest bar in Brevard County, so we've got a 50-seat bar that we're trying to get passed by the city. Really just making sure that the patio is what they want. But it was like, let's make a big 50-seat bar, so it goes down the whole side of the building, and that's cool. Kind of what we're trying to do. That's me. As far as the American or domestic seafood, that started with my dad. My dad worked for Wild American Shrimp at the time when we opened, and so he was traveling all over the Gulf and the East Coast and certifying packers and fishermen as certified wild American shrimp, the stamp that you still see out there today. He was part of that group. And so when we said we were going to do this, and he had worked for Heinz in the past, and he had seen farm raised shrimp, pond raised shrimp, and you can taste the difference. You really can. If you're given a domestic shrimp that's swimming around free in the ocean, or something that's grown in a pond in its own, where they don't get to move around a lot, put it that way. You're going to taste the difference on the seafood. So we actually started, when we opened the original location, we would go down to the dock, buy 300 pounds of shrimp. The shrimpers would call us when they come in, did $2.50 a pound. We'd grab a 12-pack of beer, and we'd go down there, and we would head all the shrimp right there, dump it right back in the water. And then we bag it up and put some in freeze them in some water, and some would just go right on the line. We did that for about the first year and a half, I would say. And then the volume got too much. We couldn't find, 5,000 pounds of shrimp to go do that with in a single location. So we got to the point where, now we're running through 300 to 400 pounds of shrimp a week at our original location. So it's not a sustainable model for us to go find that shrimp, but we wanted to continue to carry wild American shrimp. So right now we work with U.S. Foods. We work with some different seafood purveyors, and all of our shrimp comes from the Gulf. Mostly the Gulf, white and brown shrimp, some East Coast shrimp, depending on when the season comes in. But it's all packed. We get it in 5-pound blocks, frozen blocks of water, IQFs, or not IQF, but frozen in 5-pound blocks of water. And that's really the most sustainable way. And it still has the flavor of when we used to get it off the dock. There's no difference in it. And so that's kind of where, and that's the one real principle of food that we've stuck by the whole time. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. I was thinking that, because this is a marketing show, right? And when I talk to guys like you that run restaurants, and the quality of the food is such a part of the marketing, right? When you think of like cheesesteaks in Philly, right? There's some hole in the wall places they couldn't possibly keep empty, right? They're just constantly lines or whatever. People just want to eat the food, right? And so that's part of it, right? It's like that, knowing that I can get that awesome food. It's with the spurs the word of mouth and the repeat business. But talk a little bit about how do you launch a new location? Like what's that approach, and from a marketing standpoint, meaning so like you finally get the doors open. How does that look from the first day to maybe the year one? What are the goals, and how do you help someone get to the place where it probably took you a little longer the first time? But anyway, how does that work?
So we start our marketing with our store. Pause real quick. I got a truck pulling up. Can you hear it?
No, I cannot hear. You sound all right.
Okay. So we start. As soon as we get a lease signed, we'll get out on the social media side of things and kind of put out what our difference is, and talk about our domestically sourced seafood and being an oyster bar, and being what we're going to bring to your city, basically. And from there, so that social media aspect ramps up. We've got a list of things that we ask the franchisees to do rolling into the opening. But once we get to opening, we'd like to, really kind of hit that grand opening hard. We used to do 4 weeks after we do soft opening and let it kind of roll into it, but we're in the middle of changing that process to going about a week and then really doing a big grand opening to really kind of capture the newness of the restaurant. And so from there, it's really just my marketing approach being, as we opened in 2007, before social media really kind of took off. Everybody had a social media account, but it wasn't used for marketing like it is now. We like to tell people to get out and go meet your neighbors, carry some $10 gift cards with you, go visit other restaurants, talk to bartenders, let people, even if you don't tell them what you're doing exactly, you can get out there and you can figure out what's going on within your community. For instance, like our Surf City franchisee, he ordered 1,000 koozies, maybe even 2,000 koozies, I'm not sure. But before he even opened the doors, they moved into Surf City. They were not local to there. They were from Virginia. They found us. They said, hey, we want to just be on the coast. Find a place that you think will do well. And they immersed themselves in the community. And they gave out 1,000 koozies to locals before they even opened the doors and said, hey, we're coming here, had the address, phone number, all that stuff. And from day one, they have not slowed down. And they get involved in charities. You know, we're involved with charities. We ask that each store gets involved with some kind of charity. What's maybe personal to you, or if there's something happened to your community, do that. And it's really it's grow the restaurant, you know, without compromising, and really getting involved in your town, your city, your community, however it may be.
Yeah. Now, I know in a lot of models, you know, obviously interacting with the community, with people, obviously, but then there's also the business connections, right? Do you guys, or I'm not sure if it's something that everyone does, but I would think that local businesses nearby would love your food. Like, this kind of food is like, everybody loves it, right? Like, so I don't know, is there any other types of ways that you partner with businesses locally that help your franchisees, or is it mainly just partnering with the community? I would say it's maybe not like partner with businesses. I mean, we will, you know, partner with somebody if they've got something going on. You know, if they're doing, if somebody's doing a fundraiser and they want us to be a part of it, we'll always jump in on something like that. My big thing is when you're moving in, and once you get the store open your first couple months, is go to those businesses, call them up, say, hey, we're going to bring you some appetizers today. How many people are in your office? You know, bring a couple $10 gift cards over there, bring them some food, maybe take a picture, tag us, hashtag whatever you want, or ask that you tag us, or we'll tag you. And then they have had your food. You know, the customer service is top notch, because we called and said, basically, we're going to bring you food. We want you to, you know, just let people know about us. And then, so you go to a car dealership, you know, you're talking to your dealer. As you're waiting for your loan to get approved, you get into conversations. Now it's like, hey, we went to the Shuckin Shack. We tried this place out. You should check it out. And then that person goes and checks it out. I mean, word of mouth is still the number one way to spread your business. And and if you do it that way, and then you tag businesses within that, that's how you grow the social media presence, because especially after COVID, that was the only way to talk to people. So I have Instagram, Facebook, and I even scroll over all that stuff. I don't look at restaurants on social media to say that's where I'm going to go eat today because there's specials on there. And I think a lot of people do that. It's become a lot of white noise on there, and you've got to really differentiate yourself. And I don't know if anybody's really figured out the best way to do that. Yeah. But being present in the community and using the social media to show what you're doing and the good you're doing, I think that's the way to really do it. I don't think you're going to draw a ton of customers from just saying, hey, we got $2 beers today. Like, if you've got locals, they know you got $2 beers. They're not looking at, they don't care. They know what their local watering hole is going to have, or what their local restaurant. I mean, I've got people that still come. For instance, our Carolina Beach store, I've run the same specials from day one. So prices have changed a little bit, but Monday's oyster day. So it's steamed oysters are $1. Shrimp is 25% off on Tuesdays. We do clams on special on Wednesday, and crab legs on special on Thursday. And those 4 specials have never changed in 15 years. Prices have changed due to market pricing, but I still have people that have come in day one that come in on Tuesdays to get their 25% off shrimp. And so you can use social and stuff like that to reiterate that. But if you just talk to people, I mean, talking's still the best way to market your store, and then they're going to tell somebody down the line, and it just snowballs. Well, and I was saying earlier that when you have an amazing product, it can sell everything else, and it becomes part about the experience and the stories and the people behind it and everything else. And you really, so if you're going to get your presence going on social media, it is really just being social, right? It's just, and food is such a connector of that. So it's not so much the specials as much as, hey, this is awesome food and it's awesome to get together with people, or as you said, if you're doing something in the community or partnering with a business, or at least you're with the business, like you said, you're on premise or something. But yeah, no, I think that's brilliant. But tell me a little bit more. I mean, I know it's an everyday business, right? You've been doing it a long time, but technology's evolved, right? And I know in the restaurant business, in addition to social media, there's some other technology that's definitely required, just at the point of sale and things like that. But tell me more about that.
I mean, we use NCR Aloha. I mean, that's really in all of their cloud-based systems. I mean, that's really the most of the technology we use. We have not really got into a lot of, like, we don't do the pay at the table. We don't take orders at tablets. We still just have the computer on the wall and the servers, to have that interaction still. I mean, I've gone to restaurants now where people, they're taking orders on your tablet, and it's not the table action isn't nearly as fluent as what it is when you're having a conversation with somebody, because we're still trying to push the personal interaction you have. If you bring a tablet to a table, it's like having a conversation with somebody on their phone, because they're always looking at their phone, so they're always looking at a tablet. And so I feel as our servers, bartenders are way more engaged when they're just having a general conversation about the menu, and then they can walk away, your conversation can continue, and they can go do their thing on the computer where they're not bothering you at that point. You're not waiting on them for something like that. So when it comes to technology, I'm kind of on the backside of it. I mean, we get approached by technology all the time. You guys should do this, you guys should do this, but we know what works for us, and we know what we want to do. Now on the cloud-based apps and stuff like that for sales and pulling reports and all that stuff, like we use all NCR's apps for that, and that makes all the sense when you're trying to do that kind of stuff. But I'm just not all into the technology. I'm really not. It's more of the personal side of things.
And I think that, I'm a technology guy, right? And one of the biggest challenges is that it's a lot of information. It's a lot of noise. It's a lot of, hey, that's cool. But running a business is about relationships, right? And it's about business. And so you just want to enable the right things with technology, right? You just need just enough. You don't need to overcome. And to your point, your business model is about that experience. Like, I agree with you. I don't, like, if I'm going to go to a restaurant, I don't like if you're going to give me somewhere, I'm not even talking to the people at the restaurant almost, right? And I always enjoyed the interaction with the folks at the restaurant, right? The servers and whoever else. And I think that's really still very important. So again, let's use the right technology to do the right thing so we can run our business well, but let's not just do things to do them. It may work in other markets or in other restaurants, but you know what I mean? So that was interesting. I like that.
Yeah, we did all the things during COVID. We had the QR codes on the table because we weren't handing out menus and all that stuff, but I still go to restaurants now, and it's like, well, there's your QR code, but I'd rather you hand me a menu, because I want something physical that I can look at and I can read and I can flip over and look through. And I think a lot of people, I think you're losing, and this is not a knock on the QSR space, but you're losing a lot of that. Like, you go to McDonald's now or anything, it's all kiosk. Like, I just want to order something from somebody, and it's become so like robotic in a sense and technology that I feel like the casual space, if you stick with it, there's going to be a return to the conversation with people. I think technology went so far one way. I think at some point it has to come back. I mean, it's just full service restaurants can't run just solely on technology. You still need people. Yeah.
Well, and I feel like everything is kind of cyclical, right? It's not, I think technology will become more human. Like, it'll enable more positive behaviors, I hope. But at the end of the day, that human element, we can get away from it for a bit, but I don't think we still crave it, right? Like, I think that's what's enjoyable. We live in a remote world, and I spend a lot of time remote now, a lot more than I did in my earlier career. And I often will want to go out and engage. I want to go out and interact and go to a business and, sit down at a restaurant and talk to some people, right? So I think that your kind of business model and many others, that's what you need to be thinking about, is that experience, because people need it. We need it more than we did before. Like, I think, you know what I mean? Because you went to work and got to socialize and interact. Now many of us spend more time on screens. And so when we go to a restaurant, that's time to be with people. So I think that's kind of cool. I'm glad you adopt that mindset. And I think that's the right path to go. I think it'll become more evident and more of a requirement in a sense for people to actually, that's what I want, right?
I mean, there's not a better, I don't get many better feelings like when you walk into one of our stores and it's jamming on a Friday night and it's, it's full of people and they're all having a good time and nobody's looking at their phone and nobody's, because people are back together and they're just having cocktails and good food and hanging out. And the energy in a restaurant like that when it flows is so good.
That's really cool, man. That's really cool. Spoken from a guy that gets the restaurant world. That's really cool. Well, tell me a little bit, as we wrap up, was there any kind of influence in your life, or is there any principles or ideas that you feel like were a big driving force to make all this a reality for you and that you're still using to move forward? Anything you want to share with the audience?
I mean, my big kind of key phrase that I got out of college, I was in an executive network at UNCW, and my mentor at the time, it was just one simple saying, and it said, give people more than they expect sooner than they expect it. And so when it comes to working in the restaurant, and I'm bad for this because it doesn't always, it doesn't always come off well with my managers and everything when it's, well, so-and-so wants this and we need to upcharge them for this and how are we going to do this? And my thing is give them what they want so they come back. If it costs us $2 on the back end because of some sort of, pricing difference, like one of the kind of the funniest ones is way back in the day, our steam pot our steam pot comes with shrimp, clams, corn, crab legs, oysters, and some coleslaw on the side. And that's like our big steam pot. It's a big family meal. And somebody wanted to sub clams for chicken wings. Doesn't make any sense to go in the pot. But we did it. I mean, and they kind of looked at me like, why would we do that? I'm like, because if they go and tell somebody that they had a great experience, then they're going to send more people here. And so if I have to eat a couple dollars on one end because we didn't upcharge somebody for a piece of fish because they're allergic to this and they wanted it instead, I mean, that to me is worth more than anything that you can do. I mean, that's just giving somebody more than they expect sooner than they expect it. Another one was just back in February, we closed down. We had to get our hardwood floors redone, just some maintenance stuff. And this family of three came in and they're like, we drove an hour and a half to eat here. Like we do it like once a month or blah, 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 whatever it was. And so left totally disappointed. And so I had one of my bartenders grab a $100 gift card, ran it out to him, said, hey, totally apologize. But, it was on Facebook and stuff like that we were closed. Obviously they were older. They didn't see it. And, I just gave him a $100 gift card, said, hey, come back and see us anytime. We'll take care of your meal. And, it was an aha moment for her. She was like, oh my God, we'll be back like all the time. She didn't expect it, but you just give it to her. And because and if you think about it, that gift card doesn't cost you anything unless they actually come back. But it's the gesture of saying, hey, come and see us.
Yeah, that's huge, man. That's great. And it is. It's about long-term relationships, right? I mean, it's all connected to what we're saying. If there's a great experience happening, it's because you have that feeling like these are like an extended family, right? It's like my community around me. And when you do that gesture, it's like you're more important. You being part of this is more important than a $50, $100, whatever it is, That's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. I appreciate that. And your saying is like the old, there's another saying, and I think it's more said, is, under promise and over delivered. But I like the way you're saying it way better. So,
yeah. And that's if 5 years of college taught me one thing, I mean, that was it. So, did you get the one piece out of it? I got a marketing degree and it helps me some, but when you're in the restaurant space, I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, listen, can you leave a website or any for folks that may be interested in learning more either about the opportunity or if they're nearby and they have, well, I'm sure if they're nearby, they know you, but maybe they're a little closer. But anyway, you want to share a website
The website is www.theshuckinshack.com.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, listen, Matt, it was beautiful having you on the show today. I hope to have you back again soon.
Awesome. Thank you.